This story is very odd.
Just before 9 a.m., the plan was to drive together to Christiansburg to pick up a truck for the business. However, as Thompson approached the property located off US Route 220, he immediately sensed that something was amiss. The first unusual detail that caught his attention was the open garage door. While this might not have been cause for alarm on its own, it was an odd sight given the early hour. Expecting to find Michael Short either working on a vehicle or perhaps still asleep, Thompson made his way into the garage. What he found instead would haunt him for years to come. There, on a couch where Michael often slept to avoid disturbing his wife with his snoring, lay the lifeless body of 50-year-old Michael Short. He had been shot once in the head with what investigators would later determine to be a small caliber weapon. The precision of the shot and the lack of defensive wounds suggested that Michael had been killed while he slept, unaware of the danger that had entered his home. Shocked and disoriented by the scene, Thompson made the decision to search for other members of the Short family. With growing dread, he entered the main house. Inside, the scene that greeted him was equally horrific. In the master bedroom, he found the body of 36-year-old Mary Short. Like her husband, Mary had been shot once in the head while lying in bed. As Thompson moved through the house, a realization began to dawn on him. There was no sign of the Short's 9-year-old daughter, Jennifer. Her absence from the crime scene would soon transform this double homicide into a complex investigation involving multiple jurisdictions and law enforcement agencies. Upon discovering the bodies, Thompson contacted the Henry County Sheriff's Office. One of the most significant pieces of evidence found at the scene were two .22 caliber shell casings. Investigators discovered one casing near Michael's body in the garage and another next to Mary in the bedroom. This discovery not only confirmed the use of a small caliber weapon, but also supported the theory that both victims had been killed by the same perpetrator using the same firearm. The choice of a .22 caliber weapon was noteworthy as it's a relatively quiet firearm.
That's
this
wild,
detail
yeah.
suggested that the killer may have been trying to minimize noise, possibly to avoid alerting neighbors or other family members. Perhaps one of the most chilling pieces of evidence was the discovery that the phone lines to the house had been cut. This deliberate act pointed to an unsettling level of premeditation. The killer had clearly planned their attack in advance, taking steps to prevent the victims from calling for help. The timeline of the crime became a crucial element of the investigation. Based on when Chris Thompson had last seen the family alive and when he discovered the bodies, authorities established that the attack on the Short family occurred sometime after midnight on August 14th.
Damn.
This window would prove challenging for investigators as they attempted to piece together the events of that fateful night. As investigators combed through the Short family home, they made another disturbing discovery. In Jennifer's bedroom, they noted several signs of disturbance. Her mattress had been moved about 2 inches from its usual position, her sheets were pulled back, and her pillow was found on the floor. These details painted a picture of Jennifer's likely abduction from her bed, adding a new layer of urgency to the investigation. Interestingly, despite the violent nature of the crime, there were no signs of forced entry into the home. This led investigators to consider the possibility that the Shorts may have known their attacker, or at least that the perpetrator had found a way to enter the home without arousing suspicion. Another puzzling aspect of the crime scene was the apparent lack of robbery as a motive. Investigators found approximately $600 in cash left untouched on the kitchen counter, along with blank checks belonging to the Shorts.
Dang.
The presence of these valuables ruled out theft as the primary motivation for the murders. As the investigation progressed, law enforcement expanded their search beyond the immediate crime scene. They scoured the surrounding farmland, groves, and woods, employing a wide array of resources including helicopters, search dogs, and four-wheel drive vehicles. However, their efforts to locate Jennifer or uncover additional evidence were hampered by intermittent rain in the days following the discovery of the bodies. The sheriff's office kept the Shorts' home closed off to their loved ones for more than 2 weeks, carefully scanning every inch of the property for potential clues. They collected an extensive amount of DNA evidence from the home, though officials have never specified the exact nature or quantity of this evidence. In official affidavits, it was revealed that approximately 66 items were removed from the home home as
Damn.
evidence. Among the items collected were a 12-gauge Winchester shotgun and a box of 12-gauge shotgun shells. While these weren't believed to be the murder weapon, they were taken for thorough examination. A 22 caliber rifle and a partial box of 22 caliber ammunition
their own
were also
stuff.
collected, given their potential connection to the shell casings found at the scene. Investigators also seized a computer
kinda crazy,
disk
man.
and unidentified documents contained in a briefcase. These items could potentially hold valuable information about the Short family's personal and business affairs, which might shed light on possible motives or suspects. One intriguing piece of evidence was a reported note found on the kitchen table. The contents of this note have remained a mystery, with authorities never publicly disclosing what, if anything, was written on it.
Dang.
In the days following the
weird.
discovery of the crime, law enforcement conducted extensive interviews with family members, friends, and associates of the family. Chris Thompson, who had been with the Shorts the night before their murder, was questioned extensively. He reportedly told police that when he had left late on the evening of August 14th, the entire family was still alive and well, and Jennifer had already gone to bed. Thompson was presumably cleared as a suspect, with officers stating that he was open and cooperative throughout the investigation. Given that the Shorts had recently put their home on the market, investigators also pulled real estate records to see who had recently toured the family's home. This line of inquiry was based on the theory that the perpetrator might have used property viewings as an opportunity to familiarize themselves with the layout of the house. However, it's unclear whether this led to any significant leads. As news of the murders and Jennifer's disappearance spread, the community rallied together. Volunteers joined law enforcement in the search efforts, combing through the rural landscape surrounding the Short property. Amber alerts were issued, and Jennifer's information and picture were displayed on billboards across Virginia. Despite these extensive efforts, no trace of the young girl was found in the immediate aftermath of the crime. The investigation quickly grew to involve multiple agencies, including the Virginia State Police and the FBI. The complexity of the case, involving a double homicide and a missing child, demanded a coordinated effort from various law enforcement bodies. The FBI's involvement brought additional resources and expertise to the investigation, including access to their extensive fingerprint database and advanced forensic capabilities. In the weeks following the murders, investigators pursued numerous leads and theories. They looked into Michael Short's business, exploring the possibility of disgruntled employees or customers. They also examined the family's financial records and personal relationships, searching for any conflicts or issues that might have led to such a violent act. The lack of an obvious motive continued to perplex investigators.
Y'all think
the
they did?
execution-style killings
Leave it in the comments.
suggested
Leave it in
a
the
personal
comments.
motive,
Do
yet
y'all
the
think they
abduction
caught her
of
or not?
Jennifer didn't seem to fit in. Authorities found themselves grappling with multiple theories. Was this a targeted attack on the parents, with Jennifer's abduction as an afterthought, or was Jennifer the primary target, with her parents killed to facilitate her abduction? As the investigation
Kinda
continued,
feels like
authorities employed various techniques to generate leads. They released
they
a
killed
composite
them,
sketch of a man
and
seen
then
near the Short home
he was
on
like,
the
"Oh, they
morning
got
of
a
the
kid,"
murders, described as
type of
having
thing.
a weathered complexion,
You know, and he
and
had to,
driving
like,
a white
off her
single-cab
too.
flatbed truck. However, this lead, like many others, did not result in a breakthrough in the case. The investigation took an unusual turn when Michael Short's remains were exhumed on September 4th, 2002, for what authorities described as forensic purposes. While this fueled speculation about potential paternity issues related to Jennifer, police denied these claims, stating that the exhumation was to obtain hair samples that had not been taken during the initial autopsy. As days turned into weeks with no sign of Jennifer, the focus of the investigation began to shift. The hope that she might be found alive began to fade, replaced by a grim determination to uncover the truth about what had happened to the victims. Fast forward to September 25th, 2002, approximately 6 weeks after Jennifer's disappearance, a grim discovery was made in Rockingham County, North Carolina, about 35 miles south of the Short family home in Virginia.
Please don't tell me
The
they found it.
discovery was made by Eddie Albert, a local resident of Rockingham County. Albert initially found what he thought was a piece of a wig on his property. This seemingly innocuous find would soon lead to a heartbreaking revelation. 2 days after this initial discovery, Albert's dogs brought him what appeared to be a fragment of a human skull. Realizing the potential significance of this find, Albert promptly contacted the authorities. Law enforcement quickly responded to the property, which included a creek that ran through his yard, spanned by a bridge. The area became the focus of an intensive search operation. location. As investigators combed through the creek bed and the area under the nearby bridge, they began to uncover more human remains. The search of the creek and surrounding area yielded only about a quarter of a skeleton. The remains were scattered, suggesting that they had been there for some time and possibly moved by natural forces such as water currents or animal activity. Among the recovered remains were Jennifer's skull with a full head of hair, leg bones, part of her jaw, rib cage bones, and 16 teeth. The discovery of the remains was a shock to the Albert family and the local community. One statement mentioned that members of the family reported that they had found the child's teeth in their driveway. What they had initially believed to be their dog playing with a turtle shell turned out to be part of Jennifer's skull. Initially, there was some uncertainty about whether the remains belonged to Jennifer.
That's crazy.
The police initially told the media that they didn't believe the remains were Jennifer's because the hair didn't match hers. However, by early October, DNA testing conducted at a lab in Roanoke, Virginia, confirmed what many had feared. The remains did indeed belong to Jennifer Short. Further examination of the remains revealed that, like her parents, Jennifer also suffered a single gunshot to the head. In the wake of the discovery, law enforcement intensified their efforts to find the killer. They began to look more closely at the area where Jennifer's remains were found, hoping it might provide clues to the killer's identity or connections to the region. In October 2002, authorities named Garrison Bowman, a 60-year-old carpenter from Madison, North Carolina, as a material witness and later a potential suspect. Suspicion fell on Bowman due to several factors. He had last been seen in the area on August 15, 2002, the day after the Shorts were killed. Adding to the suspicion, Bowman had left a note in his mailbox stating that he had moved to Alaska, but deputies noted that he had asked for his mail to be forwarded to an address in Pennsylvania. Law enforcement seized 9 maps from his mobile home on September 28, 2002. One of these maps was marked to show the location of the Shorts' home, which intensified suspicion against him. Despite the circumstantial evidence, authorities were careful not to label Bowman as a definitive suspect. Sheriff Sam Page stated, "He has not been listed as a suspect, but we do need to talk to him. We know where he's at and we will be interviewing him at a later time." Bowman was eventually located in Canada and interviewed by authorities. He vehemently denied any involvement in the murders. In a 2004 interview with the News and Record of Greensboro, Bowman stated, "This will hang over me for the rest of my life unless they find the person who did it." He claimed he never met the Short family and would never have harmed them. He cooperated with the investigation, providing DNA samples and submitting to questioning. By 2007, authorities officially cleared him as a suspect. The focus on Bowman had consumed thousands of investigative hours, which some critics argue may have diverted resources from other potential leads.
Damn. Hyun Jong-sung.
Hyun Jong-sung, who is often referred to as Cindy, was born in Seoul, South Korea on February 25, 1980. Growing up, she developed a fascination with American culture from a young age. Her mother later shared that Cindy said she loved the United States and would like to travel the world. This early interest in American life would shape the course of Cindy's future in profound ways.
She got killed
As a
over
child
here,
in Seoul, Cindy was known for her
America,
energy and enthusiasm. This vibrant personality would become a defining characteristic throughout her life, endearing her to friends and family alike. Cindy's brother Ki-hoon played a significant role in her early life. The siblings grew up together in Seoul, sharing the typical experiences of Korean youth in the 1980s and early 1990s. Their close relationship would later prove crucial during the difficult times that lay ahead. As Cindy entered her teenage years, her desire to experience American culture firsthand grew stronger. The opportunity to turn this dream into reality came in 1995 when Cindy was 16 years old. With the support of her family, she made the bold decision to move to the US to live with relatives and continue her education. That summer, Cindy left behind the familiar surroundings of her birthplace and embarked on a journey to Springfield, Virginia. Upon arriving there, Cindy moved in with her aunt and uncle, who would become her guardians in the United States. Her aunt, Young Kim, would later play an important role in sharing information about Cindy's life in America. Adjusting to life in a new country presented numerous challenges for the 16-year-old. She had to navigate a different educational system, improve her English language skills, and adapt to American cultural norms. Despite these obstacles, Cindy's natural enthusiasm and adaptability served her well during this transition period. Her American education began at Hayfield Secondary School in Alexandria. For a year and a half, she immersed herself in the American high school experience, making new friends and embracing the opportunities available to her. After her time at the school, Cindy transferred to Randolph-Macon Academy, a private co-educational college preparatory school in Front Royal, Virginia. This change in schools provided Cindy with a more rigorous academic environment and additional opportunities to prepare for college life. As Cindy progressed through her high school years, she began to set her sights on college. Her positive experiences in the United States had reinforced her desire to continue her education in America, and
So
she
it's looking
began
good right now,
researching
boys. Looking good right now.
universities that aligned with her interests and goals. In 1998, Cindy's hard work and dedication paid off when she was accepted to Pennsylvania State University. In the fall of 1998, Cindy began her freshman year at Penn State, embarking on a new chapter in her American journey. She chose to major in integrative arts, a unique program that combined elements of engineering, communications, and science. Academically, Cindy continued to excel at Penn State. She maintained solid grades throughout her college career, impressing her professors and peers alike. By the fall of 2001, Cindy had entered her senior year in college. She was on track to graduate in the spring of 2002, with plans to pursue a career in graphic design. Her future seemed bright, filled with the promise of success in her chosen field. Fast forward to Halloween night in 2001, Cindy decided to take a break from her studies and celebrate the holiday with friends. This decision
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me she got killed because she went to go have fun, bro. Please.
Activities that tragically became her last known appearance. Cindy, along with her friends Stacy Paik and Lisa Kim, planned to attend a costume party at Players Nightclub, a popular venue located on College Avenue in State College, Pennsylvania. The club, which has gone through several name changes over the years, was a staple of Penn State's nightlife scene. For her costume, Cindy chose to dress as a Playboy bunny, which consisted of a white tennis skirt, a pink t-shirt with a bunny logo, brown knee-high boots, and bunny ears. On the outside, she wore a red hooded parka. However, her friends were quick to point out that Cindy's interpretation of the costume was more cute than revealing. Throughout the night, Cindy was observed speaking with several young men. Among these interactions, she seemed to particularly hit it off with a pair of twins. These conversations were later noted by investigators, who would attempt to locate and interview these individuals as potential witnesses. The Halloween party at the club continued until 2 a.m. on November 1st, when the club closed as per local regulations. At this point, Cindy and her friends left the venue, but their night was far from over. They made their way to a friend's apartment located in the Park Hill complex, approximately half a mile northeast of the club. At the apartment, the group engaged in more low-key activities. They spent about an hour playing video games and socializing. As the early morning hours progressed, the friends began to consider heading home. At around 3:30 a.m., Stacy offered to drive Cindy back to her apartment. Cindy lived at 349 Clinton Avenue, several miles west of where they had been spending the last hour. The drive from the Park Hill complex to Cindy's apartment likely took about 15 to 20 minutes given the distance and the time of night. At approximately 4 a.m. on November 1st, Stacy's car pulled up outside Cindy's apartment building. Detective Brian Sprinkle, who would later work on the case, told the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that Stacy, quote, watched her go up to the apartment but not in the door before driving off. This detail would become a point of focus in the subsequent investigation. It left a small window of uncertainty about whether Cindy actually made it inside her apartment that night. As Stacy drove away, she had no reason to suspect that anything was amiss. From her perspective, she had just seen her friend safely home after a fun Halloween night out. Little did she know that this would be the last time anyone would see Cindy. In the hours and days that followed, the events of this Halloween night would be scrutinized and analyzed by investigators, friends, and family, all trying to understand what happened to Cindy after she was dropped off at her apartment. The investigation into the disappearance began on November 4th, when her friend Stacy reported her missing to the Ferguson Township Police Department. This report came after Cindy had failed to show up for classes and work on Thursday and Friday, which was highly unusual for her. Upon receiving the missing person report, the police department immediately launched an investigation. However, the initial response faced some challenges. As it was a weekend, the case was initially handled by patrol officers, with Detective Sprinkle only starting the full investigation investigation on Monday. This delay of a few days would later be criticized as potentially crucial time lost in the early stages of the investigation. When police first entered Cindy's apartment, they found a scene that raised more questions than answers. The apartment was locked and there were no signs of forced entry or struggle, which initially suggested that Cindy had left voluntarily. However, the items found in the apartment painted a puzzling picture. Inside, investigators discovered Cindy's backpack, which contained her cell phone. This was a significant find, as Cindy's friends noted that she never went anywhere without it. The presence of the phone in her apartment suggested that if Cindy had left, it was likely not planned or for an extended period. On the bathroom counter, police found the fake eyelashes Cindy had been wearing as part of her Halloween costume. This detail indicated that Cindy had indeed returned to her apartment after the party and had begun to remove her costume. However, curiously, the rest of her costume, including the distinctive brown knee-high boots she had been wearing, was nowhere to be found in the apartment. Another puzzling detail was the absence of Cindy's purse, which contained her driver's license and various cards. The missing purse suggested that Cindy might have left her apartment again after initially returning home, perhaps to run an errand. As the investigation progressed, detectives uncovered several items in Cindy's apartment that suggested she had not planned to disappear. They found 2 tickets for an upcoming Britney Spears concert, a receipt for a new computer that was due to be delivered on November 6th, and a printed letter and resume for a graphic design internship she was hoping to secure for the following year. These future plans indicated that Cindy had every intention of continuing her life as normal, making her sudden disappearance all the more baffling. Detective Sprinkle and his team began to meticulously analyze Cindy's recent activities and communications. They checked her phone records but found no calls made or received after she arrived back at her apartment around 4 a.m. on November 1st. Similarly, an examination of her credit card and bank statements revealed no activity after that time. Investigators also delved into Cindy's email accounts, including both her Penn State email and personal AOL account. However, this failed to uncover any suspicious correspondence or hints about her whereabouts. As part of their initial investigation, police conducted extensive interviews with Cindy's friends, particularly those who had been with her on the night of October 31st. Stacy and Lisa, who had attended the Halloween party with Cindy, were questioned multiple times. They provided detailed accounts of the evening, including their time at the club and the subsequent visit to a friend's apartment at the Park Hill complex. The police also interviewed Cindy's roommate, who had returned from a family trip on the afternoon of November 1st. Her statement that she found the apartment locked and empty when she returned helped investigators narrow down the time frame of Cindy's disappearance. As the investigation into the disappearance progressed, several theories and leads emerged, each offering potential explanations for the vanishing. In the early stages, authorities considered several possibilities. The theory of voluntary departure was quickly dismissed due to the lack of evidence supporting it. Cindy had left behind her cell phone, which friends noted she never went anywhere without. Additionally, she had future plans indicating she had no intention of leaving. Investigators also considered suicide, but deemed it unlikely given Cindy's recent activities and demeanor. Her friends reported that she was in good spirits on the night of her disappearance, and there were no indications of ideation. As time passed without any sign of Cindy, abduction became the primary theory. The circumstances of her disappearance,
look at her.
missing items from
She
her
probably did get
apartment
abducted.
and the lack of any communication pointed towards the possibility
Let's be
of foul
honest.
play. One of
Let's
the
be
early
honest. She probably got
theories developed
abducted.
by
She probably got
investigators
abducted
was
whenever
that
she went to go
Cindy
do something.
might have left her apartment voluntarily after returning home, possibly to visit a nearby 24-hour market. This theory was based on several factors. Cindy's purse containing her keys, driver's license, and credit cards was not found in her apartment. This suggested she might have taken these items with her if she had left voluntarily. Cindy's friends mentioned that it wasn't unusual for her to make late-night trips to stores for snacks or household items. Additionally, the bunny costume Cindy had been wearing was not found in her apartment, leading investigators to speculate she might have still been wearing it when she left. To pursue this lead, investigators attempted to review surveillance footage from nearby 24-hour establishments, including a giant food store and a Walmart. However, they encountered a significant setback when they discovered that the surveillance tapes had already been recorded over by the time they sought to review them. A few days after Cindy's disappearance, a potentially significant lead emerged from Philadelphia, nearly 200 miles from State College.
Damn.
An anonymous witness reported seeing a woman matching Cindy's description in Philadelphia's Chinatown district. The witness claimed to have seen a young Asian woman resembling Cindy inside a vehicle with an unidentified male. According to the witness, the woman was crying out for help, but the man interrupted her and told the witness to leave. Based on the witness's description,
Damn.
a police artist created a composite drawing of the alleged abductor. He was described as a man with olive to light brown
looks like a
complexion
needle.
and medium-length hair. However, this information proved challenging to verify. The witness's story reportedly changed several times during subsequent interviews. Investigators were unable to corroborate the sighting with any other witnesses or evidence. The significant distance between State College
Maybe
and
could
Philadelphia
look for some
raised
camera
questions
footage.
about how Cindy could have traveled so far without leaving any trace. Despite these challenges, authorities continued to pursue this lead, hoping to identify and question the man described by the witness. They emphasized that he was not considered a suspect, but rather a person of interest who might have valuable information. In 2003, a startling lead emerged that would become one of the most controversial aspects of the case. Hugo Selensky, a man later convicted of multiple murders, became a suspect in Cindy's disappearance. The connection to him came through an informant named Paul Weekly, who was facing felony burglary charges. Weekly provided a shocking account to the police, claiming that Selensky and an accomplice, Michael Kurkowski Jr., had seen Cindy on the night of her disappearance. According to Weekly, Selensky and Kurkowski mistook Cindy for a prostitute and abducted her. Weekly alleged that they kept Cindy imprisoned in a walk-in safe at Selensky's home until she died. He further claimed that they buried Cindy's body in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania. This lead took a gruesome turn when investigators searched Selensky's property. 5 bodies were discovered buried on his land. 2 of the bodies were identified as Michael Kurkowski and his girlfriend, Tammy Fassett. Bone fragments belonging to 2 drug dealers were found in a burn pit, along with remains of an unidentified third person. Selensky allegedly provided his own version of events to the police. He claimed that he and Kurkowski had indeed abducted a woman matching Cindy's description. According to him, Kurkowski had kept Cindy's bunny ears as a souvenir of the crime. Selensky stated that he had killed Kurkowski after learning about the souvenir. However, this lead faced several challenges. Investigators were unable to find concrete evidence linking Selensky to Cindy's disappearance. He was acquitted of some murder charges but convicted of 2 counts of abuse of a corpse in March 2006. A grand jury investigation into Selensky's case revealed issues of witness intimidation and potential collusion between Selensky, his attorney, and a private investigator. As the investigation continued, several other leads and theories were explored. A woman living near Cindy reported a man exposing himself outside her window in September 2001. Investigators considered whether this incident might be related to Cindy.
How the hell, man? Obviously, boy. I'm gonna call it quits for today. Almost got a 4-hour stream. I'm post one of these videos. You already know what it is. I love y'all. Peace out, man.